What if I told you that there's an entire ocean on our maps, one you've seen your whole life, but its original name has been totally lost to history? Today, we're going to uncover a story that's been hiding in plain sight. A story about a name that was, well, basically wiped from the map.
Think about the Atlantic Ocean. You see it every day on your phone, in classrooms. It feels permanent, right? Like it's always been there. But for centuries, a huge part of it went by a completely different name. A name with a really, really ancient story.
Yep, you heard that right. The Ethiopian Ocean. From way back in classical antiquity all the way up to the 1800s, if you looked at a world map, that's what you'd see, labeling the massive body of water west of Africa. So where did this name even come from? And more importantly, where did it go? To figure this out, we have to go back, way back, thousands of years, and try to see the world through the eyes of the ancient Greeks.
So the name comes from the ancient Greek term Ethiopia, and the origin of the word itself is pretty fascinating. It literally means burnt face. This was the description the Greeks used for the lands and the people that they knew of south of Egypt.
And this is super important. They were not talking about the modern country we call Ethiopia today. To them, Ethiopia was this vast, kind of mysterious region that covered most of what we now call sub-Saharan Africa. So, pretty logically, they just named the huge ocean right next to that land the Ethiopian Sea.
And get this name stuck around for a really long time. Now, the name Atlantic did exist back then, but it was mostly for the northern parts. For hundreds of years, especially during the big age of exploration, maps just kept calling this southern area the Ethiopian Ocean. And then suddenly, in the mid-1800s, poof, it vanished.
Which, of course, brings us to the big mystery here. Why would a name that was used for millennia just get erased from our maps?
It's a great question, isn't it? It feels like a key piece of our shared history was just edited out. And the answer is a little complicated. It seems like a few different things were going on.
So on one hand, you had a practical reason. As map-making became more of a science, cartographers wanted to standardize things, and Atlantic just happened to be the name that won out for the whole ocean. But some historians point to a more troubling reason. They argue that right at the height of European colonialism, renaming the Ethiopian Ocean was part of a bigger, more deliberate effort to kind of erase African identity from geography and to downplay its historical importance on the very maps that were defining the world.
All right, now just when you think you've got this story figured out, it takes this absolutely incredible turn. We're going to leave the history books behind and jump right into modern-day geology. Because believe it or not, the name Ethiopian Ocean might actually be making a comeback in a way nobody could have ever predicted. This is where you really see that our planet is alive. Right now, as we speak, in the Afar region of modern-day Ethiopia, which, let's remember, is a landlocked country, the Earth is literally tearing itself apart. Geologists are convinced that we are watching the birth of a brand new ocean.
The sheer scale of this is just staggering. Back in 2005, a massive crack in the earth, 35 miles long, opened up in the Ethiopian desert, and it happened in just a matter of days. This isn't science fiction, folks. This is geology happening in real time.
So what's going on here? Well, it's classic continental rifting. The African continent is slowly being pulled in two by tectonic plates, the Nubian plate and the Somalian plate. As they drift apart, the crust in between gets stretched super thin and it sinks. It's a painfully slow process, of course, but give it a few million years and that rift will get so wide and so deep that it'll connect to the sea. Ocean water will flood in and bam, you've got a new ocean. Okay, let's hit pause for a second because this is so important to get straight. We've got two totally separate stories here. There's the historical Ethiopian Ocean, the old name for the South Atlantic, that came from an ancient Greek word. And then we have the future Ethiopian Ocean, this potential new sea that's forming because of modern geology. Two completely different things connected only by this incredible coincidence of name and location.
So, after all that, jumping from ancient maps to deep geological time, what's the big takeaway from this incredible story?
I think this quote from one of our sources just nails it. It's such a great reminder that nothing is really permanent. Not the maps we draw, and not even the ground we're standing on. It's all in motion.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? The story of the Ethiopian Ocean proves that maps aren't just for getting from point A to point B. They're historical records. They tell a story about who we were, what we knew, and what we valued at a specific moment in time. So the next time you glance at a map, maybe don't just see the lines and colors. Look a little closer at the names. Because as the Ethiopian Ocean shows us, sometimes there's an entire lost history hiding in a single word.
It really makes you wonder what other stories are just waiting there on our maps, ready to be discovered.